it's gonna go, this little motivational speech, but that song is all about following your bliss. There's this amazing quote, I don't know exactly what the quote is, but by Joseph Campbell, about following your bliss and how when you follow your bliss, many doors open and things move out of the way to help you when you're in the truth of your passion. And so I'm just gonna keep coming back to that as I talk to you all today. So I got my start here. I'm from Princeton, Minnesota. There's a dear friend of mine here from Princeton too. Little town about 2 hours southwest from here. And my mom, I grew up in music in a similar situation as this building. I grew up in doing a lot of church music. My mom was the music director of our church, and she she did bribe me to take piano lessons, but she hates that story. And don't get any ideas to ask your parents for money to take lessons. But I didn't want to, and she kind of made me, and I'm so grateful for her intuition for that. So I started in that way, letting kind of sacred music, I guess, spiritual music really seep into my being. And when I finally was able enough to play the piano, I would accompany church services, and sometimes I'd go and party and then show up at church after sleepovers and stuff and just play at the services. So it was kind of this first music job, right? It was playing music in church. And then I moved up here to UMD, and I started writing my own music up here. And my friends dared me to play at the open mics, and I was terrified. There was an open mic at Amazing Grace, which is now closed. Does everyone know Amazing Grace? I know, exactly. Rest in peace. It was such a beautiful, and actually, it's the owner's birthday today. He passed away many years ago, Chip Stewart, but it's his birthday today, so it's kind of special to be talking about it. But they had an amazing open mic when I was going to college, probably well before you were born, some of you. But and my friends dared me to play it, and I did, and it was it felt like the most scary thing I've ever done, and also the sense of people listening to the songs that I wrote was so it was overwhelming, and it motivated me in this way of the interchange in live music, because live music, you'll never have that moment again. You know, as the music's playing and the person's making it and you're hearing it, it's you're in this moment, the person playing is in that moment, and it'll never happen again. It's just extremely unique and special. So to be able to ride that wave of live music and have people connecting with it, it's such a deep relationship. So I got addicted to that, and Chip, the boss at Amazing Grace, told me, hey, why don't you make a CD? Because that's when CDs were the thing. And so I made a CD, but I lived in this crappy apartment, so he let me have the CDs be shipped to Amazing Grace. 1,000 CDs showed up, and so then I started playing all these shows, and I'd research musicians that were similar to what I was doing and see where they were playing, and pretty soon started booking shows around the country and finding the coffee shops in I found some in New Orleans, I found some in Austin, Texas, I found some in Vermont, and I just started booking these tours, and this was before this was Yahoo MapQuest time. This was not Google navigation time. So this was printing out a giant stack of directions and looking at maps to get and what's great about this is the root of the word music is muse, and also amusement. So letting yourself be a channel, and amusement, music can be a trickster. So it might fool you, it might trip you up, but you will completely always learn something about yourself. And trying not to force it. When we put so much pressure on ourselves to be successful in the music business, I speak for myself, it can become a drudgery. So if you are passionate about it, if you love it, then go and do it and love it and know that it is also work. And know that if it starts to feel like you don't want to like push it to a point where you don't like it anymore. And because that started to happen recently to me, where I was like, after COVID, I was like, I am getting back out there, and I booked like a ton of shows, and then I just completely burnt out, and I was like, why am I doing this? Like, I want to love music and trust like that it is like a spiritual release for me. And it might not be that, because it could be an outlet for that, because as we all know, life is so hard and there's so much suffering and there's so much challenging obstacles, and we just have no idea what everyone else is going through. So letting music be a channel for your anger, for your sadness, is definitely cathartic and healing. One thing about gigs and playing shows, and if you start to get into doing that, a few musicians have asked themselves 3 questions, which I think are really helpful. And if you have 2 out of 3 of these, if you get presented with opportunities, it's really good. So the first one is, does it pay? There are a lot of gigs for exposure, and yes, we do those for exposure, but don't do all of your shows for exposure. Music is so valuable, and you should be getting compensated, okay? But maybe a few here and there as you're building your career, but you should be paid. So does it pay? 2, will it support or further or benefit your career or your goals, whatever they may be? If your goals are networking, if your goals are having fun, if your goals are building this big career to play at First Ave or whatever, will it support that? And then 3, is it fun? So is it going to be I am sitting in a corner of the restaurant and I hate myself and nobody's listening, done a lot of those too. So does it pay? Will it further your goals? And is it fun? Those are 3 good things to ask. It's vast. Music is vast. It's beyond language. It's beyond culture. Within culture, and it's transpersonal. It is, you can go, I actually studied in India. I had the vast privilege to go to India and study the yoga of sound. So music as a healing method for transformation. And it's music without words, with words. It doesn't matter the language. You can feel someone's heart sometimes with music. So it is very connecting. It can go across borders. It can go across hatred. It can really connect us and unite us on the causes that are important to us, and bridge our differences. And it's available to all. So that's why this program is so cool. It's free and available to you, and there are people here, and you might, it might be awkward. You might know what is going on, or we're all just figuring it out as the days go. But this program, there are so many people with so much knowledge and experience that you can ask questions to, and everyone is drawn to different teachers too. So just ask around and find and see what's here. There's so many beautiful things here in this program. So yeah, I think that's all with my motivational.